Okay, so get this. You're in Brussels. You need a break from the city.
Uh-huh.
So you're
Oh.
thinking Sonian forest, here I come.
Oh,
Picturesque, right?
right.
Peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
But hold on, because tucked away in this forest is something you wouldn't expect.
Oh.
A Belgian Stonehenge.
Oh, Belgian Stonehenge. Wow. It's incredible how many hidden gems are right under our noses just waiting to be discovered. And this one has piqued my interest too.
So our guide for this deep dive is a hiking route from RouteYou.com
Okay.
called Korte Wandeling naar Stonehenge in Het Zonianwood, which I probably did not pronounce correctly.
Okay, right.
We'll have a link in the show notes.
Of course.
Picturesque valleys, a journey back in time.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that Stonehenge just keeps popping up.
Mm-hmm.
Over 10,000 views on the site tells me we're not the only ones intrigued.
Yeah, that's quite a lot.
Before we hit the trail, though, let's get oriented.
Yeah.
Where exactly is the Sonian Forest?
So think southeast of Brussels. It's this massive ancient forest, famous for its beech trees and a history stretching back centuries. It's like stepping into a time capsule, but with Wi-Fi, hopefully.
Okay, love that. Our route is described as short but beautiful. Perfect for those of us with, shall we say, packed schedules.
Mm-hmm.
So picture this. We start at a free parking spot along the Sint-Hubertstreef, right on the edge of the forest. Then we're strolling down the Dref Saint-Hubert, a grand, tree-lined avenue, total fairy tale vibes.
Yeah. These avenues were originally designed for the Belgian nobility back when the forest was their private hunting ground.
Oh, wow.
Now it's a pass for all of us to enjoy, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, talk about a historical glow-up.
Right.
From royal hunting ground to a public pathway, that's amazing. Next up, we wander onto the Klein Hutweg, little hut path, which sounds like the perfect spot for a quiet moment, right?
Sounds very peaceful.
But as we'll soon learn, even peaceful paths can hold powerful reminders of nature's strength.
Exactly. The route actually highlights a monument commemorating where ancient beaches were completely wiped out by those brutal winter storms back in 1990.
Oh, wow.
Nature can be beautiful, but it's a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, it's a sobering reminder, isn't it?
Yes.
That even those magnificent trees can be vulnerable. Okay, moving on. We reach the Vulbeek Valley, a deep ravine sculpted by the Vulbeek stream. Can you practically hear the water rushing? Sunlight dappling through the leaves?
And what's fascinating here is that those sandy slopes exposed along the valley tell a much deeper story. They're like a window into the Eocene epoch, millions of years ago, when this entire area was submerged under the sea.
Whoa.
It's mind-boggling to think we're walking where ancient marine life once swam.
Seriously, I'm getting chills. From an ancient seabed to a lush forest, that's some serious transformation. Okay, next up, we stumble upon the Bos Wachters Monument, a monument built using the same type of stone, pudding stone, as the menhirs of Waris. And for those who don't know, menhirs are these massive standing stones, kind of like the ones at Stonehenge. But these are in the Ardennes region of Belgium.
And that's where it gets really interesting. Pudding stone is a conglomerate rock, a mix of different pebbles and cobbles cemented together. Now, its use in this monument dedicated to forest rangers makes you wonder, was it purely practical? Or were they trying to echo those ancient stone formations, create a link to the distant past?
Yeah, it's like they're weaving together these threads of history and nature, right?
Mm.
This monument honoring those who care for the forest, built with a material that echoes these ancient rituals and beliefs. There's a poetry to that. All right, so we've had a history lesson, a geology lesson. Now get ready for a taste of the American West, because up next, sequoia trees.
These aren't quite the giants you'd find in California, but they're still pretty impressive.
Oh, wow.
What's interesting is that they're not native to Europe, but were introduced in the 19th century.
Okay.
This fascination with bringing in exotic species has had some interesting and sometimes challenging consequences for ecosystems.
Yeah, it really makes you think about the interconnectedness of the planet, doesn't it?
It does.
Okay, we've been exploring for a while now, so I think it's time for a break. And wouldn't you know it, the route leads us to the Laar, a clearing perfect for a little picnic.
It's like the forest is saying, okay, take a breather, refuel, you've got more to see.
I love that. But what I don't love is that we're still being teased with this Belgian Stonehenge and zero details.
Yeah.
The suspense is killing me.
Patience, my friend, we're getting there. But remember, the journey is just as important as the destination, really.
It's through that.
And this journey has already been full of surprises.
All right, listeners, we're off to enjoy our picnic and soak in the forest vibes. When we get back, we're diving back into the route, hopefully getting closer to that mysterious Belgian Stonehenge. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the Sonian forests. We were just about to reach the mysterious Belgian Stonehenge, but the route still has some twists and turns in store for us.
Okay, so I have to admit, ever since we started talking about this in Belgian Stonehenge, I can't help but picture those iconic images of the real Stonehenge in England. You know, those massive stones, the ancient rituals.
Yeah, it's a powerful image, no doubt, and it highlights how certain structures, those echoes of ancient times, can really capture our imaginations.
Exactly. But I'm also trying to keep an open mind because who knows what we'll actually find on this trail.
Right.
Maybe it's a pile of rocks. Maybe it's an art installation.
That's the beauty of it. Our guide doesn't give us a visual, so it's like this blank canvas for our imaginations.
Okay, well, before we reach the grand finale, there are a few more points of interest to explore. The route mentions a spot where the Sint-Hubertsdrift splits and the Groenspektweg branches off to the right.
And right there, crossing the Groenspektweg, you'll find the Birkenpad, which will eventually lead us back to the Volbeekpad. It's like this hidden pathway weaving its way through the forest.
Ooh, I love that. The path less traveled.
Right.
Speaking of discoveries, the route also points out a small valley that eventually connects with the famous Ganzenpootviver of Groenendaal.
The Goosefoot Pond. It's a very picturesque spot known for its unique shape and the surrounding wetlands.
Okay, now I'm really feeling like we're on a treasure hunt.
Yeah.
Each step reveals another fascinating detail. But let's not forget, we're in the Sonian forest, which is famous for its beech trees.
Absolutely. But this route highlights a curious anomaly. A small patch of pine forest amidst the dominant beech trees.
It's like stumbling upon a secret garden, isn't it? How did that little pocket of pines end up there?
It's a reminder that even within a seemingly uniform landscape, there are always these pockets of diversity and change. Nature's full of surprises.
And speaking of change, our route takes us across the Hursdrief, which actually becomes the Dubois once we cross the border from the Brussels capital region into Flanders. A subtle shift, but it shows how layered this area is.
Exactly, and right at that border crossing, we encounter the GR 512, also known as the Brabants Heuvel route, a long-distance hiking trail that winds through the rolling hills of Brabant. You've probably seen those white and red trail markers before.
Ah, yes, GR paths. They're like the veins of the hiking world, connecting us all across borders and landscapes.
Exactly.
So even on this short hike, we're intersecting with this much larger network of trails and stories.
It's all connected, isn't it? And just a bit further on, we stumble upon a familiar sight, the Boswachters Monument.
Wait, the monument we saw earlier, the one built with pudding stone.
The very same. And that's where things get really fascinating. Remember, this monument, dedicated to forest rangers, uses pudding stone from Waris in the Ardennes.
Waris. The place with those menhirs, those ancient standing stones. Isn't that kind of like a Belgian Stonehenge already?
You got it. And it's the same type of stone used for those prehistoric structures. So was using it for this monument a deliberate choice? Were they trying to visually connect us to those ancient times? It's a question that adds another layer of depth to our exploration.
Okay, my mind is officially blown.
Yeah.
And we're not done yet. Our route now takes us on a detour to a grove of sequoia trees.
Remember those majestic giants we talked about earlier, native to the American West Coast, but here they are thriving in the Sonian forest.
It's incredible to think these trees, so far from their original home, have adapted and become part of this landscape.
So it does make you wonder about the ecological implications, right? Introducing species can have unpredictable effects on the balance of an ecosystem.
Right, right. A topic for another deep dive, perhaps. For now, let's just soak in the majesty of these sequoia trees. And just a short distance further, we arrive at a clearing called the Lair. Perfect for a picnic break.
The forest really does cater to our needs, doesn't it? A place to rest, to reflect, to gather our energy for the final stretch.
I'm loving this journey. Okay, so we're rested, we're re-energized, and I am ready for this Belgian Stonehenge. What's next?
Well, just beyond the lair, we encounter a plant called Impatiens parviflora, or small balsam.
Okay, full disclosure, I'm no botanist. What's so special about this plant?
It's not native to this area. It was introduced to Europe in the 19th century and has since spread throughout the continent. It's a reminder that even within these ancient forests, ecological changes are happening all the time.
So even as we're uncovering this ancient history, we're also seeing evidence of more recent changes to the ecosystem. It's like the forest is a living tapestry, constantly being woven and rewoven.
Beautifully put. And speaking of connections, our route mentions another GR path, though it doesn't specify the number.
Okay.
We seem to be constantly crossing paths with these long-distance trails, which is a nice reminder that our journey is just a small part of a much larger network.
It's all connected, right? The past, the present, the human, the natural. It's all intertwined.
Yeah. And finally, after all these detours and discoveries, we arrive at our destination, the Belgian Stonehenge.
Drum roll, please. What do we see? Is it a circle of stones? A single monolith?
Huh.
A modern art piece? Give us the details.
Well, that's the thing. Our source material doesn't actually describe it.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
You're kidding. Right, after all this buildup, we don't even get a glimpse of the main attraction.
It's true. The route guide simply lists it as a point of interest, leaving the rest to our imagination.
Wow. Talk about a cliffhanger.
But perhaps that's the point, you know? It's an invitation to explore, to discover for ourselves what wonders await at the end of the trail.
You're right. You're right. It's like we've been given the map, but not the treasure. It's
Yeah.
up to us to complete the adventure. All right, listeners, get those hiking boots ready, because we're heading to the Sonian forest to uncover the secrets of the Belgian Stonehenge. Stay tuned for the thrilling conclusion. Okay, so we've hiked the trails, we've soaked in the history, we even had a picnic. But that Belgian Stonehenge, it's still shrouded in mystery. I mean, no description in our source material. That's just cruel.
But also incredibly intriguing, right?
Yeah,
It's a testament to the enduring power of mystery, isn't it?
totally.
Our minds are wired to crave answers, you know, to fill in the blanks.
Yeah, you're right. And my mind has been running wild. I've pictured everything from a miniature Stonehenge replica
Oh, yeah.
to a random pile of rocks whimsically labeled Stonehenge.
And that's what makes this so fascinating. We've been given the clues, the context, the history, but the final interpretation, that's up to us.
I love that.
Mhm.
What do you think it could be, listener?
Right.
What's your best guess? I'm leaning towards something subtle, something integrated into the natural environment. Maybe a rock formation that vaguely resembles those iconic stone circles. Or perhaps a small-scale art installation hidden among the trees.
Those are excellent possibilities. Remember, the Sonian forest has layers upon layers of history. This Belgian Stonehenge could be a whisper from the ancient past, or a modern artistic expression, or even just like a playful nod to that global icon.
Okay, so let's play detective. Our route led us past a monument built with pudding stone, the same material used for those ancient menhirs in Waris. Could there be a connection? Could our Stonehenge be built from pudding stone too?
That's a great observation. And it raises another question. What was the intention behind that monument? Was it purely practical, or were they trying to evoke those prehistoric structures
Right.
to create a link to the distant past?
Yeah.
Maybe that same intention carries through to the Belgian Stonehenge.
It's like a breadcrumb trail of symbolism leading us deeper into the mystery. And we've also seen how the forest is constantly changing, evolving. We have those non-native sequoia trees, the small balsam spreading through the undergrowth. Could our Stonehenge reflect that ongoing evolution? Maybe a modern interpretation of an ancient form?
It's certainly possible. It could be a commentary on the relationship between humans and nature,
Yeah.
how we shape the landscape, both intentionally and unintentionally.
Right.
Or maybe it's just a reminder that even in an ancient forest, new stories are being written all the time.
Oh.
Absolutely. And who knows, maybe one of you listening will be the one to finally uncover the secrets of the Belgian Stonehenge. Maybe you'll share your findings with us and we can dive back into this mystery together.
Until then, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep those imaginations fired up.